1 year ago, drag queens threatened to storm Facebook's offices in San Francisco to protest their so-called real names policy, which effectively outed LGBT folks and threatened political asylum seekers or anyone whose safety is compromised by revealing their legal name. In lieu of a protest, the drag queens and other privacy advocates ended up meeting with the big wigs at Facebook to discuss the policy, but nothing really changed until this week when the social media giant announced they will be handling things differently by allowing users to provide more information about their circumstances in order to give additional details or context on their unique situation.
But critics are saying nothing has really changed, since the company is still acting as an absolute authority over people's identity. Today we're joined by Sister Roma, one of the drag queens who spearheaded the protests that led to this recent concession. Listen as we talk about how it all went down, why celebrities get away with having fake names on Facebook, and do we have a right to privacy on Facebook and all social media websites.
I'm Fausto Fernos.
I'm Mark Fillion.
And this is Feast of Fun.
Hello?
Hi, is this Sister Roma?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Sister Roma. It's Fausto Fernos.
And Mark Fillion from Feast of Fun. How are you today?
Hey, guys, I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Congratulations, I guess, is in order with Facebook.
That's true. Progress is being made finally after more than a year of working with them and protesting with them. They finally seem to be paying attention to our community's concerns and making some tangible changes.
Will you be changing your Facebook name now that they sort of made concessions in understanding that not everybody can or should use their assigned name, their parental given name in public spaces?
Well, my Facebook profile says Sister Roma, and my personal profile says Roma, because that's what happened. Is I have always used that name. I used it on Facebook since I started 8 years ago. And then when I went to log in one day, my name was, I was logged out, and they told me to change to my legal name. And I did it, not realizing that it would appear on my profile. And for a hot second, my name was Michael Williams, and that's when I went to Twitter and started the hashtag #MyNameIs and started this whole movement to protest the authentic name policy. So as soon as I did that and met with Facebook, they changed my accounts back real quick. And I could have been satisfied with that and moved on, but I realized quickly that there were a lot of people who were affected by this, and we needed to get it changed for everybody to make it fair.
Now, you met with them last year, and they said that they were going to do something about it, and they seemed like they were going to, but then what happened?
We had actually planned a protest at Facebook, and they convinced us to meet with them face-to-face rather than protest, and they made a very public apology to the drag community, to the LGBT community, saying that they wanted people to be able to use their authentic identities. And at the time, we thought, wow, this is great. They get it, and they're going to fix it. And nothing happened. Our community continued to be targeted and disappear from Facebook, and they didn't do anything. Meanwhile, we're trying to help people get their names back through secret emails and all these other methods that we had, but it became very frustrating and clear that they weren't taking us seriously. So the My Name Is Coalition went forward with our protest on the Facebook campus on June 1st, and then we started a petition to get them booted from San Francisco and New York Pride.
What exactly is the new change that they are announcing for people who may not understand? Because they're still requiring you to use what they consider authentic names, or what they call authentic names on the website, but now they're allowing people to present under different names on the front end?
Well, they changed their wording on their site from real names to authentic names, claiming that they want people to be able to use their authentic identities or the names that everybody knows them by in everyday life. That's what we've been asking to do all along. But the difference is that we are trying to get them to understand that in many communities, people do not have an authentic identity that can be proven by an ID or a piece of paper. So they had always required a government ID to get your name on Facebook. They are claiming that you don't have to do that anymore, but you still have to present some kind of proof that this is your name, and they're trying to add all these different options, including a yearbook picture, a bank statement, a magazine subscription, none of the things that many people have to prove their authentic identity. So the change is the way that they're trying to work around this is, even though they refuse to remove the fake name reporting option, now if someone wants to report someone for using a fake name, they make them go further and ask them, is this person bullying you? Or they ask if the person, why they're reporting someone for using a fake name, if there is actually some sort of bad behavior attached to the account. Because one of the big concessions that Facebook made is they realized that fake name reporting is flawed and that it's being used to target our community and bully our community. So they are trying to find out ways to make it work. So the other way that is, once you're reported for having a fake name, now they're giving you the option to go in and explain in detail to a real person who you are and why you have this name. The options will include you're part of the LGBTQI community, you're transgender, you're a domestic abuse survivor, and you can actually enter in a text field and explain to them why you're using the name that you have chosen. And hopefully it will be reviewed by a real person who will understand our community and recognize that the identity is authentic, and you will not be suspended. For them to admit that there was a problem, that they also said that they know that their automated responses, even though there was a real person sitting there reviewing your questions, they still push a button that sends an automated response to people. And their users and everybody who tries to use Facebook is getting really set up with these Autobot responses that are so obviously rhetoric and marketing bullcrap that don't mean anything. So they have admitted that that's a problem, and they said they're going to start assigning real people to talk to people authentically and with real voices and really interact. So that's a huge step.
That is a big step. I think they also said, too, that they're going to review the flagging process. Because I remember, like, last year when this whole thing went down with the drag queens, there was some queen, I forget how this went down, but some queen was saying that she was taking credit for reporting every drag queen's whose name was, fake on Facebook. And so they're going to look into, like, who's actually doing the flagging. Because for a lot of people, it's a form of harassment. And they go around and that's not your real name. That's not your real name. And they're like the real name police.
That's exactly what it is. People you could go down my friends list and you will see a bunch of people with names that can't be proven by an ID. And if you feel like bullying a bunch of people, if you don't like gay people or drag queens or anybody for any reason, you can just go, this account is using a fake name, fake name, fake name. And we could see where it would happen in waves around the different parts of our community. All of a sudden, people from the leather community would start saying, oh my gosh, someone reported my account. And then people from the drag community, and then people in the imperial. It's just so obvious that there was malicious targeting. So they hope that by asking people to explain further why they're reporting this account and making them fill out a text field, text information, that it will deter people from doing that type of malicious behavior.
Sister Roma, are you satisfied with the changes they've made so far?
I feel like it's a step in the right direction for sure. And they are going to walk us through them more closely and work with us to refine them. I think it's a very grand gesture on Facebook's part. It's just infuriating to me that they still refuse to acknowledge that the only option for reporting on Facebook that punishes identity and not behavior is fake name reporting. I keep saying, why do you care what someone calls himself on Facebook? If you don't like the way my name looks, you can block me. If I make a friend request to you, you think my name looks weird, you can refuse it. It doesn't matter what somebody calls themselves.
Yeah, and if nobody's reporting you for, like, I can understand why they would want somebody to use the real name, just in case, they were harassing people and doing stuff. Then you could report them.
Yeah, but those are all behaviors that can be reported and should be punished. Nobody should be allowed to behave badly on Facebook. We're just asking you to recognize that people can identify however they choose. It shouldn't be up to me to prove who I am. I'll tell you who I am. And I'm being accountable for all of my actions on Facebook. I'm not behaving badly. And if I do post something, you can still see who it is. I'm owning my profile, regardless of what the name is mine. And it's how I present myself, and I should be held accountable for it.
Certainly these people who work at Facebook live in San Francisco. A lot of them are LGBT themselves. I'm sort of surprised that they wouldn't have a deeper appreciation for the value of privacy on their own website.
Well, there are people on both sides of the fence, LGBT, who work at Facebook. Some people are very passionate about this and realize that it is a huge problem and have been fighting very diligently to get it changed so that it works for everybody. And then there are some people who I've met at Facebook who are very gay, who have drank the Kool-Aid, and they're 100% gung-ho with Facebook's policies. It's just like anywhere you go. You're going to find people who are on both sides of the coin, but it is largely thanks to the LGBT employee base at Facebook that this has come to the forefront, and they've been taking it very seriously. One of the greatest pieces of news we learned today is that they have hired a full-time project manager who is responsible to handle this entire issue and make sure that changes are implemented and that work is made to fix it. So that's really a huge step in the right direction.
And do you have that person's phone number?
They're so private there. This is proprietary information. Please don't share. I know, right? Exactly. Isn't that hilarious? And they asked us to never reveal email addresses and to keep all sorts of information private and names private. So, yeah, it's sort of weird.
Well, I can see that person like going to a bar and be like, "Buy me a drink. I'm the Facebook privacy czar."
Yeah. You want your profile back? Buy me a shot. Right.
Well, did anyone give you a gift? Because certainly you and Heclina and some other activist drag queens have been very important and critical in even this kind of concession from the company.
Oh, I've gotten so many thanks from people. I travel a lot, and I get messages from people all over the world who are thanking me for my work on this. And I honestly, it's just wonderful when people show gratitude and are thankful, but I still feel like there's so much work to be done. When we can all authentically identify without harassment, then I will accept their praise and their thank you 100%. Right now, I say thank you, I appreciate it, but we're still fighting, and I'm not going to stop until it's all fixed.
Do we have a right to use Facebook? Because as social human beings, if Facebook dominates the internet's ability to share photos and information and contacts with our friends and family by forcing people to get off of Facebook, it's sort of like putting someone in solitary confinement in prison.
Well, Facebook has become such an important social platform for people to share memories and photos and to raise awareness to social issues and to wish people happy birthday and stay in touch with people from their childhood. I mean, it's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning. You make some coffee and you look at Facebook. It has just become that much of our normal routine for millions and millions, if not a billion people. So yeah, it is really terrifying to a lot of people to feel like, oh my gosh, if I can't prove that I am being authentic on Facebook, I'm going to lose all of my social network, all of my connections, all of my photos, all of my memories will be blocked from me. And it's really dangerous for people, especially trans youth and other LGBT youth, who have found a social network where they can be accepted and ask questions and find help where they don't have any other resources. So it's very important. And it can be very scary.
It does bug me that we have to get to this level of showing this multinational rich company the dangers of violating people's privacy when, as human beings, we all have a right to privacy. It's not in our Constitution, but I think it should be. Well,
definitely. And I feel like they don't want people's legal identities to be revealed without their permission. And that's something that they've tried very hard to prevent. Although it did happen when this whole issue rose, that was one of the first things that they stepped in and tried to fix. And they're working harder to make sure that if you do decide to comply and present this information, they're going to be adding pop-up screens where you have to double confirm that this is the name that will appear, and they want you to confirm that. So they are trying to sort of protect it, but yeah. When it comes to privacy and Facebook and the information that they know about all of us and what they do with it, it's anybody's guess what's really going on.
Well, because on Twitter, if you want to become a porn star, you just come up with a name, you put 3 X's in front of it, And there you go. And you can post all the pictures of your dick, no problems. It doesn't, Twitter doesn't stop working.
You get 60,000 followers and like that. And all you got to do is add XXX to your name, and it's like 100,000 people will follow you.
But Twitter's not making money like Facebook is. And that's the big difference. Twitter's not making the money that Facebook is. And that's the big difference.
That's true, too. That's very true. They're not.
Yeah. So, I mean, because you're also involved in adult films, and
I sure am.
What what are sort of like you know, the gay men that you know that are also porn stars? Like, how are they navigating this this territory with Facebook specifically?
Well, I've worked in the adult industry for over 15 years. I'm the current art director for NakedSword.com, and I have been friends with the guys in the films for many, many years. And a lot of them are experiencing the exact same things that the drag queens that I know have gone through, where they use their stage name. But to many of those men, this is how they identify all the time. Whether they're on screen or off screen, they use their professional name, their chosen name. So they're sort of going through the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. Boomer Banks, for example, is known as Boomer Banks everywhere, socially, in real life, conversationally, on Facebook, on Twitter, everywhere. He doesn't use his legal name anywhere. So that would be a good example.
One thing that bothers me, though, about all this stuff is the flip side, which is celebrities get a green light and whatever they fuck they want to do. So I've seen, I'm not going to name any celebrities out there because I don't want to rat on their privacy. But I personally know a lot of celebrities who have really obvious fake names on Facebook, and they have no problems with it. And then there's the flip side of this concept of verified accounts, which the whole concept of a verified account initially was if enough people are impersonating you and imitating you, then you can justify having that little blue tag on Twitter or on Facebook. You're the famous person you claim to be. But instead, people abuse it. And like even the, you know, somebody who's like has a, you know, everybody starts to defining what a successful entertainer or performer is by the fact that they have that verified stamp or not, and not whether they're likely to be impersonated or imitated.
Right. Well, that's the other thing, that it sort of creates this unfair hierarchy, social class of people, depending on how many followers, fans, or likes you have. It puts you in sort of an elite class where you're allowed to bend the rules and sometimes get a blue check and sometimes not. And you're right, that's not fair. My argument would be, though, that most celebrities, like Lady Gaga, I think her name might be Stephanie. But she never uses it.
I think her boyfriend calls her Stephanie.
Yeah, but she's not on Facebook as Stephanie Germanotta.
He better, right?
No, but I personally know a couple of big name celebrities and found them through, you know, because we interview a lot of people and we have their personal phone numbers and all that stuff. And we keep all that information locked up, private, and never reveal it. But because Facebook has access to my cell phone and my starts revealing this person that we interviewed on the show as their alter ego based on the phone number that we have stored in our phone. And so I have to lock that information, but I have no idea how Facebook manages to tell me that that famous person that we had on the show last year, his real name is, you know, Douglas Fairbanks, and you know, and is using like photos of dogs and flowers to represent themselves on Facebook, and they have no problem with it. And to me, it's really a situation about like wealth and power. Only the wealthy and the powerful have access to privacy, and all us plebeians, unwashed masses, have to fend for ourselves.
Right, yeah. That is so spooky, though, how they get in your... You have to give them permission to look at your contacts, but sometimes it's not evident or obvious that that's what you're doing. And when my name was changed on Facebook, it was changed in people's phones too. Those people were like, "Who's this? Who's Michael Williams?" But this is Roma's number. So, yeah, it's a big problem, and it goes deeper because this is almost 2016, and it's all spooky out there. Everything's connected that way.
In some ways, it's also racist, right? Because Native Americans and African Americans and people from Asian countries who don't have Western European names get challenged a lot more. So Dakisha Johnson or Hyung Kiyoshi or Fausto Fernos is going to be like, who the hell is this person? As opposed to, you know, Mark Felian.
I think you're absolutely right. It is completely racist, and it can be used as a form of racism when people report people. If it wasn't for the Native American community, the Black community, and a lot of activists in China, our movement wouldn't have had the impact that it did, because all of those people, Irish people as well, use Gaelic names. All of those people started to protest in conjunction with My Name Is and joined our coalition and started their own ideas of protest and spread the words to their social network. Those people are very much involved. It's way bigger than just a bunch of drag queens. It's a huge, huge issue.
Well, and I was also seeing some people writing about asylum seekers, that people coming here to the United States that may be trying to hide from people back home, trying to use a different name here so they can start a new life, and being targeted for that.
Oh, it's a matter of life and death for some people. Absolutely. It's very scary in a lot of places to be gay, to be transgender. It can be life-threatening to be exposed. So, absolutely.
Did you go out and set out to be a figurehead for a gigantic privacy rights movement?
No, I was just pissed off, and I just wanted to get Facebook's attention. Yeah. And I thought for sure that it was a misunderstanding, that they would correct it and it would be fine. But the thing that motivated me to keep fighting is because I got so many emails from so many people who were in fear of being exposed, who were afraid of losing their contacts, with heart-wrenching stories, women who are domestic violence survivors, people who've been raped, people who are activists who are fear for the lives of their families in China. I mean, the stories would just pile in, and I was like, oh my God, this is way, way bigger than I realized, and this really is important. And I have to speak for people who don't have voices for themselves because they are afraid to speak up. So that's kind of how that happened.
Well, it's the right queen for the right job, because I mean, you've been an activist, an HIV activist for years now. So
well, yeah, I'm 106.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You're not that
old.
Actually,
this is my 28th year with the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence here in San Francisco. So yeah, I've been at this kind of stuff for a long time.
Did you guys ever find out who the drag queen that started all this, who threw the apple of discord was?
No, we never were able to confirm who it was, and in a way, it doesn't really matter. And in a way, maybe it's a good thing that it all started, because now change is going to happen and it's going to be better for everybody in the long run.
I blame Fifi O'Hara for it. I'm just kidding. But
I think it was Jackie B, honestly.
Sister Roma, it's a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for your hard work in this very important issue. It seems like we've just gotten started. If people want to participate in putting political pressure on their government and corporations who are trying to invade our privacy or see our privacy as a commodity to use against us, what can they do?
Well, it's always a good idea to contact your local representatives, your politicians. Take it to your LGBT newspapers, blogs, outlets, websites, and you can also join www.mynameiscoalition.org.
You mean mynameiscampaign.org.
And share your stories there and learn more about what we're doing, and we welcome everybody. So the best thing to do is just make noise and let people know that you're not happy and that change has to happen, because the voice of one person can make a difference.
Thank you so much, Sister Roma.
Thank you. I really appreciate talking with you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Sister Roma lives in San Francisco, California. What an amazing drag queen. You can join the fight for privacy on the internet and on social media at www.mynameiscampaign.org. And they do good work, so check it out.
Your name is Campaign? I thought it was Fausto. Sorry. She must have a real fun day job being an art director for a porn company.
Aren't we all?
No, now you put it in there, and that goes there.
Yeah.
I assume that's the box, like doing the DVD or the album art, that kind of stuff for.
Well, just because it's sex in a movie, aka porn, doesn't mean that you don't have to market it. You don't have to worry about merchandising and promotion and artistic direction, just like any other film company. And so I'm sure there's people out there who are literally the receptionist for a porn company, or someone who, you know, inserts the media into envelopes and sends it to the mail.
Well, it's all digital these days too, I think, for the most part, but.
Yeah, but that's a whole nother show. I apologize to Sister Roma for not having her on the podcast anytime sooner, but I just felt like this was a really good day and a good time to get her on, and thankfully she was available.
Well, and hopefully she'll come back sometime and we can talk a little more in depth about things.
Well, because another thing I wanted to talk about with her is the changing face of pornography, especially when it comes to gay men's sexual identity, and how in the near future, we're all virtually porn stars in some regard with these hookup apps and social media. Certainly, like on Twitter, you can post naked photos of yourself and somebody can be aroused by it. And so where those lines are getting blurred really fast.
And so many guys have their own little Tumblr where it's just them doing like their neighbor.
We've had him on the show too.
You know? So this is interesting. So we had the guy who did the Tumblr for Shane's Alley, and I met his roommate. Well, actually, I'd met his roommate before, and his roommate was saying like, "Oh my God, living with him." In some ways, was a lot of fun. In other ways, it was a complete nightmare. Because the nice way is to say it was an adventure. It was an adventure.
Because in an adventure, you know, awful things happen to you, but also amazing things happen to you too.
Well, because that's the thing too. It's like if somebody is always having people over the house to have sex, you're just kind of like, you know, what kind of living situation is that?
Yeah, it's a pretty damn good one.
Well, keep that in mind. So I'm kind of like debating. It was like, because it's really kind of like a show specifically about that show. You know what I mean? So I don't. And the other thing too is like, we didn't really use Shane's real name.
Oh, that's not his real name.
No, I mean, well, Shane.
I'm not Facebook. I'm not going to rat people out, because I know plenty of people who are getting away with using fake names. And, you know, it's not because they're LGBT, it's because they're celebrities. And I could totally rat them out. And sometimes I just might snap one day.
That's not Lady Gaga, that's Stephanie Germanotta.
But the thing about it is that a lot of, you know, privacy isn't something that should be left to an individual's whim. It shouldn't be something like if you pissed somebody off, then you don't have the right to privacy. Privacy is an important thing. It's a very strange times that we live in that it's up for grabs, that people think, oh, I'm a celebrity, I have no privacy. And I'm like, privacy isn't about like everybody knowing where you are or how fabulous you are. Privacy is about keeping yourself at peace with your own thoughts in your mind, right? Like if Facebook had ability to tap into every single thing that you were thinking, that would be pretty awful, wouldn't it?
Well, it's trying to. It just sent me a survey. It's like, what do you want to see? This kind of thing on your newsfeed? And it was giving me all these options. And sometimes you're just like, and both are good things, but they're saying, do you want to see this kind of thing on your newsfeed? Or do you want to see this kind of thing? And so I'm like, do I see a status update from a good friend that's celebrating something nice? Or do I see a political story? You know, and you're like, what do I choose?
Well, and another thing I wanted to talk about with Sister Roma is right now in San Francisco, there's a battle brewing. Well, it's not brewing. It's in full throttle between Airbnb. What is the term that they're using for Airbnb? Is social sharing or the sharing economy. Right. San Francisco is one of the world's most expensive places to live, and certainly to rent a piece of property. It rivals Tokyo, Paris, France, and it's extremely expensive, so much that a lot of people are being just forced out of the city, and a lot of property owners are turning to Airbnb and similar apps and services in order to turn their properties, their apartments into mini hotel rooms, and skirting the protections and the taxes,
and things like that.
The things, you know, and part of me is like, well, you should have a right to do whatever the fuck you want to with your property. At the same time, you do live in a society where you're have a responsibility for the quality of life in the community that you live in. And if your actions are making it really shitty for your community, for anybody who's not a .com millionaire to live in, I think there's a huge problem. And so right now that thing is brewing and it's about to explode. And so San Franciscans are voting on laws right now that are seen nationwide as a referendum on the sharing economy, and people are looking at that very closely.
In happier news, penis cakes in Sweden are flying off the shelves. So they have that Movember.
Hold on a second. Penis cakes.
I already posted, I found a news article about it, and I posted on our friend Martin, who's from Sweden. I said, don't get sick from eating all the penis cakes.
What is a penis cake?
Well, it's a cake that's shaped like a penis, and it looks like it has a little like a fondant kind of thing, and it's to benefit, and it has a little blue ribbon on it for prostate cancer. Because I guess 10,000 men in Sweden every year get prostate cancer, and it's part of that whole Movember, with the you don't shave kind of thing, Movember. And so, so they're selling penis cakes, and 10% of the proceeds go to a charity for prostate cancer.
I guess there's a lot of funding and awareness campaigns for breast cancer, but for prostate cancer and other types of cancers, there's very little funding or awareness campaigns for it. So it's definitely a worthy charity. And,
Well, it definitely is like get your prostate checked, check your balls. And even men can get breast cancer too. That's the thing that like a lot of people don't realize is like, know, you need to check yourself for lumps or anything unusual.
Honey, I tap myself in the nuts and my pecs all day, all night long.
If they hurt, if they lumpy, if they look like they're too big, go see the doctor.
I thought too big is not a problem.
Well, I have a friend who his became like the size of an avocado, so that's too big for sure.
Yeah,
Although
some people inject saline solution to get their nuts as big as grapefruit.
And, some people are just really turned on by big testicles, like big balls, or they're absolutely fascinated by it. It's like to me, it's like if I feel like a small balls, I'm just kind of like, they're small, but it's never I'm like, oh my god, this guy's balls are so big.
Isn't there this
teach their own,
Isn't there this social media thing where guys are now taking pictures of landscapes with their nuts hanging? Nutscaping. Tell the people what that is again.
You drop your pants, and then you bend over and you get like your nut sack hanging down into the top of the frame of the photo.
I didn't realize so many guys shave their nuts. Like, I don't shave. I'm terrified of getting a razor down there.
A lot of guys are like, well, they're shaving Nazis about that kind of stuff. But I think most of the nutscaping I've seen is like most of the guys have hair. So I was happy to see that.
I guess my perception of whether people shave or not is based on Sister Roma's industry. Hey, guys, guess what? We are we hit the $10,000 mark in our fundraising for Cooking with Drag Queens, this exciting web series that we've been doing for last year on YouTube, which a lot of people are asking, well, can't you just rely on the advertising that comes from YouTube? And unfortunately, we can't. The money that we get from YouTube from the advertising barely goes to cover the cost of food. And so we're not even talking about the cost of hiring an editor, maintaining and continuing to shoot these episodes, the storage that we require on hard drives, the crew that we have, all those things add up. And so in order to continue, and we want to do Cooking with Drag Queens for a good while, we're trying to get it to grow in size so it can rely exclusively on advertising from YouTube. But the show's not there yet, even though we've had an amazing year and we have had some extraordinary episodes with Katya Zamolodchikova or Lady Bunny or Trixie Mattel, Kim Chi, Shea Coulee, Dixieland Cartwright. Some names that you might recognize. Lola von Miramar, the academic Puerto Rican drag queen. Am I missing some names?
I think we got pretty much all of them, right? Lady Bunny.
Tranica Rex.
You said.
Well, the trauma of shooting Tranica Rex's episode made me forget.
And I'm more than happy to share some of this analytics with the people, because I did a screen capture of this when I looked at it, and it was with the views on Katya's, which is well over 10,000 now, but at the time this was at 4,000 views, and our total estimated earnings was $4.50. And that probably will get about 100,000 views, maybe more, just because she's super popular on the internet. So you're probably looking at, multiply that by another 10. So you're looking at, $100 or something, maybe more.
You're whoa, baby, slow down. We're talking about $40 or $50.
Okay.
Your math is a little off there.
So 40 or whatever.
We're not even at $100. That's not even the grocery bill for that specific episode.
And that's not even like that's a quarter of what we pay the editor. So it's like, it all adds up. But the good news is like we're almost halfway there. And statistically speaking, Kickstarter projects, if they reach they're 98% likely to be funded if they reach the 60% mark. And so
it seems like an insurmountable challenge right now, but it's really not. Mm-hmm. If we can just reach 60%, then the odds are with us. Yeah. Hint, hint, meaning Kickstarter will probably feature it.
Yes.
We have 9 days left to go. Mm-hmm. And this is like 8 days, really. This is like The Price is Right? It's like the clock is running out of time. If you believe in Cooking with Drag Queens, you've enjoyed the series so far, and you've pledged, consider doubling your pledge amount right now.
I know it seems crazy, but like if you only pledged $1, consider pledging $2.
That, do you really need that, that double mocha foam latte frappuccino macchiato? Why don't you just, have a cup of coffee instead today? The simple the price of a Starbucks cup of coffee, or the fancy kind, can go to ensuring that Cooking with Drag Queens becomes a self-sustaining web series. That's the goal where we're trying to get to. But we can't do that without your support. We can't continue. And effectively, we've run out of money. We've run out of resources to do this show. And so if we don't reach that goal, the series will be canceled. And that would be a terrible thing.
You can't see the tear coming out of my eye right now, but it's there.
A wig is a terrible thing to waste.
It's been a long time since you pulled that little nuts.
That nugget. Well, because we're and listen, and I don't usually say that very often, but we really are at the critical point here. We have 8 days left to go. We have some exciting testimonials. If you are a drag queen or a person who is very visually stimulating, consider making a video testimonial and email it to mail@feastofun.com. Best thing to do is to send it in a Dropbox or post it on your YouTube channel and give us the link, and so we can access it from there.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much for listening. Tomorrow we're talking to
Diamond Devereaux. She is she has a really long ass title. It is the 12th Empress of the Windy City Court of the Plains Empire. I think
you have that right.
I think that's something like that. And she's also Teriyaki's drag daughter, or drag abortion, I think you might say. I think she would say that. And you see her in Teriyaki's episode of Cooking with Drag Queens.
For a split second.
Yeah, for a split second. So we're going to hear her talk about how she won it, and also, too, how she is battling brain cancer. She's been diagnosed with brain cancer. It went away, and now it came back. Okay, I have her title. Empress 12 of the Imperial Windy City Court of the Prairie State Empire.
That sure is a mouthful.
That's the imperial court system, which you guys will find all over the nation.
Yes, which we call that sons and daughters of the soil in tiaras. Thanks so much for listening. We love you guys. Oh, later on this week, it's trans comedian Jeffrey J. It's back on the show.
Hey, it's Jeffrey J.
Thank you so much for listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Feast of Fun is a podcast that's available on iTunes and any podcast directory. Just search Feast of Fun and subscribe. Become a Plus member and get access to all our premium content, and support the podcast at feastoffun.com/plus.